Hi everyone. Thanks so much for joining today. It's lovely to see you guys in the Zoom room with me. My name is Rebecca Vander Schaaf. I'm the Director of Admissions for the George Washington University's Graduate School of Education and Human Development. So you've probably seen my name around. I think my name would have been on your admission letter. And hopefully I've met some of you already as well. So in today's presentation, I just want to go through a few different things that are often really helpful for students who have been recently admitted and are working on making a decision or making plans to attend. So I'll go over where you can find that admission letter. I want to make sure you've seen it. I'll go over how to learn more about your program if you haven't already done that. And then I really like talking about calculating the return on investment because that's such a huge part of why our students come to GW. So I want to make sure that you have what you need to think about that. And then I'll talk a little bit about the steps for after committing. So after you decide to attend GW, what happens? What are the next steps? I'll leave some time at the end for Q&A. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, you can go ahead and type those into the chat. And I'll get to those after these few slides. It'll go quick, I promise. So, all right. So if you haven't already seen your admission letter, you can find that in your application portal. The ugly link is right here at the bottom of the page. If you just go to our website though, there's the apply button in the top right-hand corner is also the same one that will lead you to this portal. You'll sign in with your same username and password that you used to apply, and then you should see your admission letter when you get into the portal. If you are receiving a scholarship, that would be in your admission letter. So just a note to make sure to check that out. And then there are often details of your admission following my signature. So something else to keep in mind. So now that you've seen your admission letter, hopefully the next step is typically students have lots of questions about the program, about what it means to be admitted, what attending would be like. So here are a few resources, and I'm happy to share more too if you have questions, but you can find the official curriculum for your program in our university bulletin. This should be the same thing that you see on the web page for your program. But if you want to see the official version, it's the University Bulletin website. I encourage you to chat with our admissions staff. They're very knowledgeable about each and every program. And so this will be a great chance to sort of get to know a little bit more about career outcomes, what it might be like to be in the program. They can also answer questions about financial aid. So a great place to start. You could also connect with your program chair. So this person, we can either connect you to them or you can find them on the website. And that person would be a good contact if you wanted to speak to a current student or a young alum. They can share more information about sort of the curriculum, the career outcomes, and whether or not the program is going to be a good fit for your professional goals. So we'll chat briefly about calculating return on investment. One of the things that I think a lot of students are considering when attending graduate school is really what happens after graduation. Most people attend graduate school, yes, for personal gain and certainly to further their own academic journey, but most people ultimately are looking for professional advancement or shifting of career paths. So the first thing I would encourage you to do is think about what your salary might look like after graduation. If you're a teacher in a school system, this might be as simple as looking it up in a complex chart. But for most of us, it's a little more complex than that, I guess. So I typically recommend starting with glassdoors.com. It's a good place to look up job titles, professions, and it allows you to narrow that down by region. So if you know you want to stay in the DC area after graduation, that salary might be vastly different from what you might find in St. Louis, Missouri. So it is helpful to have that reference. I would also encourage you to think about the non-financial benefits of attending. So for example, are you going to have an expanded network at GW that you might not have at a different school? Will you have faculty mentorship? Are you going to build connections with employers? Are you going to enjoy studying at GW? Is this a place where you feel you can be academically and professionally successful? These are really critical things that could impact your success in the program and your success after graduation. So definitely things to take into account. And then I sort of just mentioned this, but gauging whether GW is the right place for you personally. It is a really fun place to go to school, but it's not. City learning, of course, is not for everyone. And so certainly, I hope you can visit us on campus and try to narrow down whether this is the best fit for you. So to estimate the cost of your GW education, you need the current rate of tuition and fees, the number of credits that are required for graduation, and then any scholarships, tuition discounts, or grants that you've received. Our tuition can be found on the student accounts page. If you go to our website under the admissions section, there's a spot where it says funding your education. There's a link there that will link you to this page where you can click on our school. In some cases, tuition is also posted on our program pages, which would be an easier way to find that information. But this is the official spreadsheet that comes from our Board of Trustees. So when you have your rate of tuition per credit, then you sort of plug it into this formula. So multiply the per credit rate by the number of credits that you're going to need in order to graduate, add any fees, which are also on that same spreadsheet with tuition, and then subtract any scholarships, tuition discounts, or grants. If you are interested in federal financial aid, that would be through our GW's financial aid office. So we're happy to connect you to them. The first step would be filling out a FAFSA form. If you have questions about your scholarship or you didn't receive one and you're interested, reach out to my office and we can see what we can do. So most students are looking for ways to lower the cost of attendance. That's very normal. So number one, of course, apply for scholarships from my office. So if you didn't receive one and it's because you didn't apply for scholarships in the application, let us know and let's see what we can do. Number two, lower the cost of your tuition with external scholarships and grants. So it's probably not too late to do research on external scholarships that might be able to help lower the cost of attendance, either for this coming couple of semesters or for next year. A lot of those external scholarships students find on their own. We do have a few resources at the bottom of our funding page, and that's a good place to look and just sort of get started from there. But it does take effort and Google searching on your part to narrow this down. Really anything though that you can find that lowers that cost is worth the effort. So I do encourage you to do that. Many of our students work during their programs. It is a little bit program specific. A few of our programs, it is very challenging to hold employment as well as be in the program. But for the rest of the programs, it is possible typically. Many of our classes are actually taught in the evenings or on the weekends to allow students to have full-time internships or part-time jobs, full-time jobs. There's really a variety of situations. On-campus work can be found either through the GW HR site or through our student employment website. Off-campus work, we do have a job board that's specific to GW students called Handshake, and that would be available to you once you have matriculated. And then the final thought I'll say on return on investment is just that economically, it is typically wise to attend graduate school at the earliest point that you're ready. Tuition typically gets more expensive over time. Delaying graduate school is theoretically delaying what should be a higher salary after graduation. At the same time, you want to make sure that you're going to get everything you can out of a graduate program. And so it's a very personal decision, but I encourage you to seize the opportunity at the earliest point that you feel like you're ready to take advantage of it. So we're going to talk now about sort of what happens after you've decided to attend and what that looks like. So the first few things you'll be asked to do is set up your GW accounts. You can get your email address. You can get all set up to register for classes as soon as that opens. Part of that would be submitting required compliance documentation, reviewing your academic program and what courses you'll want to take first, and then of course registering for classes. There is a new student guide that you can find on our website, or we can send you the link to it as well. And that's a good place to start. We do still have a COVID policy. This is managed by the university's Health Services Center. And so we can direct you to their information. My office does not, of course, manage the COVID policy, but this is something that would block a student from registering or for continuing on if they're not compliant. We do require final official copies of your transcripts. So if you didn't submit that during the admission process, that's something that new students need to submit before the end of their first semester. Without submitting it, you end up getting blocked from registering for your second semester. So that's something that if you have committed, you can go ahead and turn those in, and you can send that electronically to our office or by mail. And then if you have questions about what courses to register for or what to start with first, your student services advisor is going to be a great person to reach out to. And you can find their contact information at this link or just on our website. But they will be with you through your full student services journey as a student at GW. So great people to get to know and of course ask questions as you have them. And then finally, for international students, the visa process can feel a little overwhelming. So there is an international student guide that we have on our website, and then we tend to work with you guys very, very closely. So we're happy to help you through that visa process and getting your I-20 form so that you can apply for the student visa. But this is a good spot for basic information as well. And I'm really going to stop here. This is my last slide, just an invitation to join us on campus. We'd love to see you and meet you in person. We have a few on-campus events this summer, and then of course some additional webinars. So please feel free to join us. You can check our website for updates on which events are available for registration. So I'll stop there. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to type those in the chat and I can be happy to respond. If you have individual questions that are really specific to your own situation, I'm also happy to chat with you offline and see if we can find a solution.
Rebecca, can I also ask questions?
Sure.
Not through the chat. I just joined. The recording will be available.
Yeah, I think
later.
the recording is available after the session, so we'll send out a link to it.
Perfect. And what was it about a student visa? I mean, I'm an international student, and all of my courses are online courses. And
So if you're an online student, you typically don't need to go through the visa process, but you can.
Yes, but all of the on-campus events and let's meet on campus and things like that, I'm also supposed to do that without.
So I would reach out to my office and we can help you. But for online campus, if you're going to be exclusively an online student, then typically you won't have a student visa. And so you would not be able to join us for events on campus.
Perfectly fine. Thank you.
Sure. So there's a few other questions in the chat. One of them is about transcripts. And so asking more about the difference between transcripts from the application process and then what we require later on. So during the admission process, you may have sent us your official transcripts, but we also allow students to apply with unofficial transcripts. So what we're looking for with the official final transcripts is a document sent from your university where you previously graduated that says all courses and all grades. It has a conferral date, and it's sent and sealed from the registrar's office at that university. And this is a US federal regulation, so it is something that we are required to provide. And if you have other questions about securing that, just let us know and we can help. But we also tend to get in touch with folks who have not yet met that requirement. And if you are not sure if the transcript you already sent in meets the requirement, just let us know and we'll just double check for you. A question about scholarships. If you are a summer student and you're starting in the summer and you haven't received a scholarship, so I'll just answer this in general. If you have not received a scholarship and you're interested, let us know, and we're happy to help you with a re-review process that would potentially end up in at least some scholarship. So happy to consider you. Just let us know if you're interested and we can take a look. Are there any other questions that I can answer for you guys?
Can you explain what's going to, I mean, when I signed up and now I need to sign up for the courses themselves. So you are going to explain it in the rest of the Zoom?
So I talked a little bit about registration earlier. Let me see if I can go back there. So you'll find information on setting up your accounts and then getting ready for registration in our new student guide. This is also information that our student services office will send out usually by email over the next few months. And then if you have any questions, I would suggest getting in contact with your student services advisor. If you don't know who that is yet, just let us know and we'll connect you.
Okay.
Like there's a couple other questions here. Recommendations for finding a place to live only during the summer. I personally do not, but GW does have a housing office, and so we'd be happy to connect you with them for tips and tricks about finding housing around the area. We don't have on-campus graduate housing, so students typically live off campus, or I guess all of them live off campus technically. Let's see. There's a question about the STEM extension for the visa OPT. I don't believe any of our programs currently qualify as STEM, so there is no extension on the OPT. And then a question about the deadline to register. We will certainly let you know before that deadline passes. Fall and summer registration, I believe, are now open. So you could go ahead and start registering soon. I think the final date to register is like technically 10 days after the start of term, but you certainly wouldn't want to wait that long. So earlier is always better. And then once registered, some programs do reach out to their students about sort of what course materials are required. I think that is also potentially mentioned when you're registering of what materials might be considered important, and then it's certainly on the syllabi, of course. So you'll start to hear from your faculty if you're starting in summer, probably in like May, and if you're starting in fall, you would hear from faculty most likely in late August. Hopefully that helps. But if you have specific questions, just let us know and we'll help you navigate all of that. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm happy to end it here.
I do have one question, actually.
Sure.
Hi, Rebecca. I am debating, I was admitted into an online program, okay. But there's also an on-campus program as well that runs adjacent. I was wondering if, well, I'm debating on moving to DC. I live in New York. And so I was wondering if there's like a student connection portal where I can talk to like someone from this year's graduating class about their experience, like either online or in person, and where I could find that.
I would connect with your program director.
Okay.
And then ask them if there's a current student you could connect with. They're going to know which students are where in their experience, so they'll be able to better connect you. But great idea to chat with a student. I think that makes a lot of sense to narrow that decision down. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I think we are typing my email address into the chat. So we'll make sure you guys have that. And I'm, of course, on the website too, so you can find me there as well. But great. Well, it was lovely to see you all. Thanks so much for joining. And congratulations again on your admission. I hope you all join us here. We'd love to have you. So yeah, I'll end it there. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much.